welding, remember these four things. Proper Ppe. That means we want to make sure we have proper protective equipment every day. And the four important proper protective equipment that you need when you're starting welding is number one, your welding hood. You can go on Amazon, you can shop at one of your local welding supply stores, you can go to Home Depot, Lowe's, you can even go to Walmart and find you a welding hood. So wherever you go, get you affordable hood. Everybody's different. Some people have big budgets so they can get big equipment. Some people have small budgets and so they have to get small equipment or pass down equipment or used equipment from pawn shops. All of that is okay when you're getting started, but you have to have a welding hood. And one of the things you also have to have, including the welding hood, you have to have safety glasses. And you probably wonder, man, I got to wear safety glasses and the welding hood? I'm going to tell you why it's real important. Having the safety glasses on will also help from the UV rays. They also help from getting scrapes and scratches, and when you cleaning your welds, little BBs can pop off or slag can pop off, and it can just keep preventing you from hitting it in the side of your face. But if you're using some type of power equipment, as soon as you get done like grinding it or cleaning it, you got some protective equipment on. But I also think that it's also wise to have a safety shield. So when you're doing grinding or cutting with a cutting disc, it's good to have a safety shield. But safety glasses is most definitely required. Number four would be your chest, covering your chest, having a protective coat or protective clothing on. You can have one of these. These are great to have. These are these are not real expensive. You have the leathers also that you can actually pull out. Those a little bit more warmer. It just depends on what you're doing. They have thin leathers and I'm talking funny. They have thin leathers and then they also have the thick ones. So you can get the leathers that actually kind of thick, and then you can get the ones that's kind of thin. I actually got two pair. I got one that I use in the shop, and it's more just to keep things off of me. And then if I'm in the field, when I was welding like in Colorado and I did some welding in Nebraska, it was very cold and I had thicker ones on. So it just depends on what climate you're working in or where you're working. But having some is most definitely going to help you. So number four, your welding gloves. You got to have your welding gloves. And I always say, have two different pairs. Have your thick welding gloves and then have some basically, I say mechanical gloves where you can actually move and operate equipment and grab grinders and still have it on while you're doing your tape measuring. Because sometimes when you're touching this metal, even if it's new metal, you moving it, sometimes it can be sheared off and you can cut your finger. I have done it many a time. I know many career welders or welders getting into the field and getting jobs, and they'll see some of the pieces that they get might be sharp. Sometimes they get them in, clean them, but majority of the time, if they get new pieces in, the piece is going to be sharp. So it's good to have protective gloves on. And I wanted to talk about the last E because I said PPE, which everybody know, proper protective equipment, but I put one more E on that. That's every day. Every day you work, every day you find a welder, every day you jump into the field, you want to have it on. Some people think that, oh man, I'm working on my own, in my own shop. I don't need to wear this or that. I'm gonna tell you something. Statistically, most people get hurt doing their own side thing because they think, oh, I don't need that. Yes, you do, family. I have cut my hand before. I have done little things that I normally wouldn't have did on the job because I'll say, hey, let me knock this out real quick. I can do this. I'm at the house. Ain't nobody watching me. But the thing is, just because ain't nobody watching you, don't mean you don't want to go home at night and be safe. Yes. Hard hat. And hard hat protection is actually good if you're in the field. If you're doing field welding, most field welding jobs require you now by OSHA to actually have a hard hat on that will that your welding hood can connect to. That way you have full protective PPE on at all times. You know what I mean? So it's very good to have that. But if you're welding in the shop, 9 times out of 10 you won't have it. But another thing with the clothing, you want to have a welding hat. Sometimes people say, man, I don't need one. And I was welding with a guy probably like a few weeks ago, and we was doing some welding, and he did a few overhead pieces that really wasn't, I ain't gonna say that was completely overhead, but it was up. So some of the little sparks kind of got him and hit his head good. He said, oh man, I felt my hair burning. You know what I'm saying? Well, I said, man, you better put that hat on. And then he took his welding hood out and put it back on. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, sometimes it might get warm, or you might have conditions that you might go through, but you have to remember, having the proper PPE will save you, like from burns and from cuts and scrapes and just different things that can happen from not having it on. So the reason I wanted to make this video, because I feel it's very important for those who are jumping into the welding field, to know exactly what they need, And you know, having a welding hood is actually going to protect you from the UV rays. It's going to protect you from the flashes, from the getting flash burns. I can't tell you how many people I have watched try to tack. Even if you're tacking, family, I want to tell you this. Even if you're tacking some metal, put your welding hood on. Don't just close your eyes, because even those UV rays can get through those eyelids, family. You know what I mean? And you can still burn your eyes. So don't try to go through no quick shortcuts thinking that you don't need your welding protection, thinking you don't have to put no gloves on. If you're just walking in doing something real quick, always put your proper PPE on. Always lead by example. If you're teaching someone, helping someone, always help them do the things the right way. I don't like to, even if it takes you a couple extra minutes to put on certain things, at least you're going to go home the way you came. You know what I mean? If you're working for yourself, or if you're showing up to a job site, salute. It's all about having the proper things you need. What you say, family? What you say? Yes. See what I'm saying? See, because what you was doing was you was tacking without that welding hood on, and you thinking, nah, I'm not gonna burn my eyes, and you still burn your eyes. So it's good to still have your welding hood on when you tack. I would say most definitely have 2 pair of protective gloves. Like a boxer, protect yourself all the time. You know what I'm saying? You got to, because it's very important, because that's how you get your bag, family. You get your bag to get a bag. So you keep everything you need, your protective equipment, so to speak, in a bag. You can have a backpack or whatever. You can go with a brand. I like to say this. A lot of people get caught up with brands, names. Me personally, I'm all about a good product. It can be a brand I never heard of, but if I do the background check on it and I see it got good ratings and it's a good product, I'm with a good product. So I don't really promote a certain brand unless, you know, I'm being sponsored. Then I can say, yeah, I'm sponsoring so and so. But as of now, the things that I represent, or the things that I show you, is just brands that I use personally. Like all of my welding equipment is Lincoln. That's just what I use personally. That's the things that I have invested in. I have Miller also. I have had both. You know what I mean? So, you know, I don't knock what a person gets. Just get what works for you. But me personally, you know what I mean? I like to have the things that's going to be okay. So I don't get real caught up in what type of welding hood it is. As long as it can do what I need. Can it, you know, if I'm doing TIG, MIG, and stick, or if I'm doing 2 different processes, I want to have a hood where I can change and I can grab, or I can get a little darker shade or a lighter shade. So I love the fact that technology has given us many styles of the auto darkening hood. I think that is great, because like back in the day when it was just 1 shade or 2 shades, you know, it was still good, and I learned from that. That is actually how I learned. Just one, it was like 11 shade, 11 shade, jump in there and get it going. But having the opportunity to get an auto shade, it just makes you critique your welds a lot better. It helps you stay in the weld zone. You can actually start where you need to start, instead of dragging it on the plate or hoping you close to where you're going to start welding at. Let me see what you said, family. I missed it. Yes. Being comfortable with your equipment. So, you know, I think it's very important that we invest in our PPE, and it's not a lot, but you do have to invest something. And some people, we get so caught up right now with getting freebies and people giving you free money and free this and free that and free, but you never notice that there's really no free education. When you think about it, majority of people, I know people right now, I know a gentleman, a few people right now who's in their 50s, family, and they still paying on student loans. Still paying on student loans, and they're in their 50s. And that's one thing that's about being a welder or having a trade, being a tradesman. You can actually avoid that. And over time, you can make the money they're making without having a debt and not having all that overhead over your head. And then plus, a lot of times people go for something they don't even actually practice. So you tell me you can go to college and actually be in debt like that and don't even use the information, don't even use that knowledge, don't even use it, and you just paying on it. So let's be smarter in 2022 for those who are learning and stepping into the welding field or stepping into tradesmen. Man, make sure that you pick what you want and put your all into it and build your independence, because you most definitely can. Yes, debt slavery, man. We most definitely have to, reprogram ourselves of thinking a certain way. That's why I wanted to talk to you, because I had a few people always jump in and say, man, I just started welding. I'm about to start welding. I just started welding a month ago, 2 weeks ago. I've been in the 6 months, you know what I mean? So I wanted to talk about a few things that you really need, and that's your proper PPE every day. That's why I added another E on it, because every day we need it, family. Every day we do. Yes, earn while you learn. See, and that's the cool thing I love about the trade. I love about the trade. And see, behind me, I have the welding career path. There are so many different career paths you can go to. Like, you literally got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pick your pick your field. If you don't want to weld itself, you can be a researcher and you can just be the one that looks over, make sure the welds is right. You ain't never have to touch a weld, but you can say, I know what it's supposed to look like. Oh, they got the undercut. No, they got this. Oh, no, I redo that. They got this. You can be that type of person. You know what I mean? So there's so many things you can do with welding that I feel like in 2022, we really got to take advantage of it, family. We really got to take advantage of it, because this can build your independence. You can actually start something from zip. You know what I mean? You can start something by investing your time first, getting some information. You can just invest your time first, family. You ain't have to invest no money at all. You can just say, you know what? Let me watch some YouTube videos. Let me go to the library and check out a couple free books, or let me watch a few videos on it to see if this is what I want to do. And then once you pick it, say, you know what, I'm going to go and be a welder. You know what you have already done? You have already gained some information. So now you got the lingo. You got the lingo. You know what to look for because you've been listening. You've been already made some proper steps. That's why I always say proper preparation prevents piss poor performance, family, because if we prepare ourselves properly, we will not perform in a poor manner. So I like to say that because this year, man, we got to really tighten up. And that's from all of us, even for those who do business, for those who don't. If you want something, you're going to have to do it. Stop sitting around thinking people going to give it to you. You're going to have to protect yourself. And I want to share something that I read on this mug at this business, and it really caught my attention. It says that, and I said it before in another video, but I want to state it again in this one. It says quality protects the job. Safety protects the person. So when you're being safe, it's protecting you to go back out and do it again. But your quality work ethics is actually going to protect you from having a job, from making money. Let's just call job money. Just say, we ain't even going to call jobs regular jobs this year. We're going to say, hey, you making money, you making some money, because it's not about, the regular job no more. People, there's so many different ways we can network independently. We can go back to how it was before the Rockefellers introduced the school system and had everybody going in debt. You know what I mean? Where people actually owned their land and owned their houses and ran a business and they did their own growing and had their own, forms. Like even when I was growing up, my grandfather had his own garden. We had a nice one. We used to go out there, get all our potatoes, our greens, some onions. He had a few different things. He had some a few things of corn out there. I know he had some watermelons out there. He had some onions out there. He had some bell peppers. I mean, my granddad had everything you need to cook a good meal. So I think we got to go back to those times where, where we really learned something. And I really think the trade is where it's at. And for those who enter in welding, I just want to say salute, salute. I want to give you a big fist, man, and say, hey, you're on to a great path, because I have went places. I have seen things. I have traveled to events and seen people and met people that I normally would have never met if it wasn't for the trade, if it wasn't for the skill. There is a scripture in the Bible that I read when I was young, and it wasn't until I was an older man. I'm 41 years old now, and I'm about to be 42 in March. And it was around about 40 years old where I really, really understood this scripture. It says that if you see a man with skills, he will sit before kings and not before a regular man. And I want to say that because I actually experienced that. I didn't really understand what that meant. It's meant once you get a skill and you skilled at something and you're good at it, you don't have to worry about being sit at a certain position. The people at that position will come and get you because they need you to help fulfill their vision. And they say, hey, he's dedicated. Let's sit him over here. And somehow you'll be sitting right at the right hand of the king. And they be like, those around you might be jealous and don't know how you got there. It was your work ethics. It was your skills. So sometimes we have to realize that skills are very, very important. Your skills can put you in positions that you normally wouldn't be in, but you have to protect yourself, family. You have to have the proper PPE. Let me check in. I see a few messages was popping up. Want to make sure I don't miss nobody. 1980 hustlers, you better believe it. Now, jobs will never go anywhere. Yes, yeah, they just telling people to go to school. Just like you say, man, your family was electricians and mechanics, and they made things happen. Yes, and you know what? While you was in school, you was able to get some of that information, and you still got some of that information that you can fall back. And that's another thing, because people ask me, they say, well, what else do you teach? I also teach people how to do fabrication and read blueprints. I'm an iron worker. I do have my iron working books in here. And this is, I'm going to show you something. Yeah, this is level 2. In my level 2 book, it's a full section on blueprints. We have the full blueprint in here. We go through the tests and everything. So this is me going through the iron worker, because I am an NCCER iron worker. So I'm an iron worker welder and millwright. So I'm an iron worker welder millwright by trade. So you want to learn everything to help enhance your trade, because just welding, you're going to realize that, hey, after doing it for so long, repetitions, you might end up losing your thrive for it. And you might say, you know what, man, I might want to do something else. And you say, no, I want to learn some fabrication. Then you start building things. And that's what the blueprint reading comes in. That's what knowing how to square things and read a tape measure. Knowing, make sure things level. Make sure things is clean and proper. Those are the things you learn when you dab into the fabrication field. And so when you are building your career, it's always good to take up all the game you can take up while you sweeping the floor. I remember when I first started, there would be days we just clean up the shop. And me and some of the guys be like, man, we welders, man. We don't want to clean no shop up, And I remember some of the old school dudes, they'd be sweeping the floor, talking and singing. Like, man, we don't like doing this. He said, man, last time I checked the dude, they sweeping the floor, he getting paid minimum wage. I ain't getting paid minimum wage to sweep the floor. So he made me think, I'm like, well, man, he got a point. You know what I mean? So sometimes I think that we overlook things and we tend to belittle things. But we want to make sure when we're jumping into the welding field, family, we have the proper PPE. I just wanted to spend a couple moments this morning just to talk to you about that. Like I say, a few people have dived in and had said they was jumping into it. And I just wanted to say, no matter where you get it at, make sure you have it, because you're going to need it to stay safe. You're going to need it to get back home. You're going to need it to build your independence. And no matter if you're doing it for a company, if you're doing it for yourself, you still need to be safe, family. You still need your proper protective equipment every day. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you keep that in mind. Just wanted to say that because it's very, very important to building your independence. And I think that if you're going to get to my age as a welder, you know, being 41 and starting, and I got introduced to welding at around 17. So, you know, yeah, around 17, it was like late 16, close to 17. Yeah, I was like between end of 16. Yeah, I'm gonna say 17. Yeah, it was around 17 when I got introduced to welding. So when I got introduced, and then now I'm 40, you know, 41 years old. And from when I first dived into the field, you know, a lot have changed and a lot is better. You know, they say certain things, you know, the old people like to say, man, it was better in the old days. Certain things, certain codes and beliefs, yeah, it was. But to be honest with you, certain things are better now. It's easier now. You know, now I feel we don't have no excuse why we can't build our independence. I don't feel like we have no excuse why we can't learn something, invest our own money, our own time in it, and actually build something. You know what I mean? I teach welding independently, and some people still ask me how can it benefit them to invest $250, $750, or $1,000 in a small welding course that I have. How can it benefit them? And it blows my mind that they don't fully understand. You know, it's almost like you want to take some crayons and let me write this in crayon to show you how you benefiting yourself. Like, you thinking you helping me. Man, I'm helping your business. If I was thinking I'd be the only fool that'll give you $1 million worth of gain for $1,000, because that's what I'm doing. It doesn't take that long to make $1 million, family, especially when you're a tradesman. You put 10 years in, you got $1 million. You know what I'm saying? Do the math. You know what I'm saying? So it don't take that long. So if someone's willing, I should be the fool, or the person that's willing to give you the information, you know, should be the one that's lacking. But I know that in order for a person to grow, you got to, it takes money to make money. So I got to break that mentality. Plus, I got to, you know, use my time and equipment and get things organized for a person to make sure they straight. And then I feel like all of that is worth something. But you're winning on the long end. Like, for instance, your first couple checks, you getting your money back, because most welders right now are starting out between $17 and $20 or $15 and $20. And if you're starting off in the middle at 17 and you getting this good money, 50 hours, 60 hours a week, you bring it home 1,000 or more after taxes. You know what I'm saying? So it's easy to replace your money. So don't think small when you invest in anything, especially in yourself. So if there's someone local in your community that's teaching welding, if there's a program where it got some affordable prices and you can jump in and build your own independence, do it. And check this out, family. You can write it off. You can write it off. And if you if you network with me, I'm gonna show you how to do that. So when you say, hey man, how do I do this with my taxes? How do I get my EIN number started so I can become an independent business and work from home? How can I use my home and then get me a shop? Like, I can show you all of that. You know what I mean? But certain things you have to invest in first. So you can always find somebody in your local community. You can always find someone that's willing to give you some good game, some good knowledge that can help take you to a level, but you got to be willing to invest in yourself. If it's even just going over there and say, hey man, how can I come over here and help you on my downtime? I might know how this, but can I come over here and give you some of my time and help you out? Man, there's so many things you can do, but you got to be humble, family, and you got to remember one thing: proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. Y'all be blessed, man. It continues to prosper out there. Let me check in one more time before I get up out of here. No, we have, you know what? Let me say something. We have no excuse of building our independence in 2022. No excuse. It's too much free information out here just on the web. There's too many programs. There's too many people that you might know that you might, it's crazy because sometimes it might be somebody that's close to you that they might have made it out and you might think they doing something slick and they really ain't doing nothing slick, just work ethics that they might have to keep. Go on and humble yourself and say, hey man, I see you made it out. Can you show me how you made it out, man? I'm trying to get out too. How much do it cost, man? Because I'm trying to get out of here. Ain't no cost to trying to get it out. But sometimes it's our pride, family. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. So keep that in mind when you when you're dealing with people, when you're building your independence, and just not a business, just when you're networking, to know that we got to humble ourselves and we got to be willing to network. You know, you got to be willing to put that first foot forward and make sure that you can be able to network with people. Salute, salute, salute. Thank you everybody for checking in. Like I say, I just wanted to spend a couple moments and talk. Wanted to talk about the proper things to have when wearing your PPE. Just wanted to say for those who jumping into welding this year, it's a great trade. They got a need right now over. I want to believe the last time I checked, it was close to 300,000 welders that they need, miscellaneous throughout the U.S. And it could be a great opportunity waiting for you somewhere. So Google your state, see what's going on for those who weld with disabilities, for those who are scared of heights, for those who want to travel. Man, there's many different opportunities. So make sure you hit that web, check out some of these websites, check out Indeed, check out OfferUp. You know, check out these things that be posting these different job sites. All those job sites and apps that be posting, check them out, man. Get you a good resume, post it out there once you finish school, put your stuff out there, start promoting yourself, and you'll be surprised what company might call you and say, hey, you got the training we need. Hey, you got this we need. So be specific too when you're building your resume. Put in what you did on that job, what you did when you was out there in the field. If it wasn't part of the title, but you still did it, put that on there so they'll know, hey man, I got experience in this too. So that way you can build your independence in 2022. Y'all be blessed and continue to prosper. Hold on.